Thank you so much for joining us on Straight Outta Savannah with my guest, Asherah Eden. I'm super excited that she is joining me today. We're going to have a super amazing time. She's going to tell you who she is and what she does. Asherah, take it away.
Hi, all. I am so happy to be here. My name is Asherah Eden, and I help successful women know how valuable their expertise is and ask for what they're worth now that they've lived their life confident in who they are and in their power. On a more mundane day-to-day level, I live in gorgeous Maui, Hawaii, with a little Velcro kitty cat who loves to sit in my lap. And I have 20 years experience in the transformational space, leading groups and individuals through massive internal and external life changes. And I hold a master's degree in mind-body psychology.
That is so awesome. So what brought you to doing the work that you're doing now?
What brought me to the work that I'm doing is, like, we all have our own stories, right, Tammy? And I had a past self. I had this past self where I was super, super, super successful in my career. And I was a booked out yoga teacher. And on paper, my life looked perfect, but I wanted more and I didn't know what it was. And what was going on under the surface for me, and this was like, 15 years ago, what was going on under the surface for me was I wasn't speaking my mind. I wasn't asking for what I wanted. And I felt like I had to be perfect and, have all my ducks in a row and get everything right all the time. So that past self led to a huge personal dark night of the soul, which I probably won't get into here, but a lot of deep introspection, deep trauma healing, deep personal clearing, and change that I had to go through for many years. And then a lot of education, towards the end of that, from psychology to business to shamanism and soul retrieval, among yoga and massage and many, many other things. And all of that together led to a desire, to help women who in the present reflected an aspect of me in the past.
Gotcha. So you're helping your past self.
I'm helping my past self and my future self, right? Because isn't it always both? I'm helping women who are a lot like my past self emotionally, but my future self in other ways, perhaps professionally.
Yes, that is awesome. That's awesome. So what did you do in those 20 years of whatever?
Everything in the kitchen sink. Well, okay. Professionally speaking, I was teaching yoga. I was doing something professionally. It was just individual and group yoga teaching. And then I was a psychotherapist. So in the professional end, I was a yoga teacher and then a psychotherapist. But alongside with assorted, really tedious retail jobs mixed in the mix. But alongside that was a parallel journey where I was learning how to speak my mind. I was learning how to claim my voice. I was learning when my yes meant yes and when my no meant no. And what that looked like on the more personal end of things was a lot of really deep mind, body-based healing processes with my own coaches, teachers, and mentors, a lot of private one-to-one study with an initiated shaman, a lot of trips back and forth between Maui, Hawaii, and the mainland US. And I forgot what the other one was. And I'm sure the rest will come back to me. and a lot of embracing my femininity and sensuality and pleasure as a superpower, rather than a problem or a burden.
Yes. Speak on that. Definitely.
Oh, I love my favorite topic. My favorite topic. So we are taught in our present day culture and society that, gosh, this is just coming to me. I'm channeling this. The hustle is holy. We are taught that the hustle is holy.
Yes.
And I have a 3-word response to that, which is vulgar, warning, cover your children's ears. And that warning is, fuck that shit. The hustle is not holy. What is holy? Tammy's smiling. I love it. What is holy is speaking your truth.
Yes.
What is holy is self-care. What is holy is grounding and centering. What is holy is coming back to pleasure as a blessing, whether that pleasure is a walk in nature or a brand new car. It can be small, it can be big, But what is holy is putting down the hustle is holy and coming back to the sheer pleasure of being a woman, being right here, right now, and literally enjoying the pleasure of the body and the pleasure of the flesh.
Oh, wow. Yes. Yes. That's absolutely. I'm just like blown away even by that channel message. Coming back to pleasure.
Coming back to pleasure.
Do you think that that will help us to navigate past this time?
Do you mean the global time? And if, yeah, yes.
Yes.
If so, yes. Yeah, that's a yes. And like, yes, we need to all be doing, quote unquote, practical things. And I'm not saying like throw the baby out with the bathwater. And yes, because collectively we're in so much fear right now.
Mm-hmm.
There's a tremendous amount of collective fear. And I have to say, from my perspective, it's gotten a little bit better. It was a lot worse like 2 years ago when COVID began.
Yes.
But it's getting a little bit better. But it's really all fear versus love.
Yes.
And while I'm speaking about pleasure, or if you ask other people, fear versus power, depending on who you're talking to, fear versus love, fear versus power. For me, love is power. So there you go. So yes, coming back to pleasure is essential. There's powers that be. I'm not a conspiracy theorist, but I also do believe that there's powers that be. I also don't believe that everything is pure and innocent, right? Like we are innocent, but side note, there are powers that be that want us to live in fear.
Mm-hmm.
So the absolute best rebellion is not to be like down with the man. The absolute best rebellion is to drink in pleasure. The absolute best, quote unquote, I could say rebellion, but really collective reset of consciousness is to come back to love. The absolute best, reset is to stop, to sit outside, to drink in the sunlight. The absolute best reset is to go out and like buy that organic food. So coming back to pleasure, coming back to self, and coming back to your own worthiness, divinity, and holiness for being alive again and again.
That is perfect. That is perfect. So what actually made you get to that place where you were even teaching the yoga? Because I mean,
oh, the yoga, yeah. So me as a yoga teacher was 20 years ago, and I'm naming that because every time I mention that, someone's like, will you teach me yoga? And I'm like, maybe as a part of a mentorship or coaching package, but like, just, so no, do not DM me after this asking for just a yoga lesson. It happens. So what got me to the point of teaching yoga though, was that I want to quote like a pop culture thing here. I don't know if you guys remember the Tori Amos song from like the 90s where she's like, she's everybody else's girl, but maybe someday she'll be her own.
yes.
I was everybody else's girl. And I wanted to maybe someday be my own. But I was miserable. I had anxiety. I was stressed out. I felt like I always had to be perfect. I felt like I always had to be in control. And this was 2000. And I just had this like intuitive flash. I was already active. I was working out. I was doing the gym. But I had this intuitive flash that said, do yoga. And I was like, oh, okay. I guess I'll try that. So I literally was at a gym working out and I just changed gears and jumped into a yoga class. And what that first depth yoga class did way back in 2000 was I got out of my own way. And just for that 90 minutes on the mat, I wasn't being a perfectionist. I wasn't anxious. I didn't have to be in charge. I just was. So
you were able to surrender.
It's surrender. It just tipped me into a surrender, which coming from a background of a lot of anxiety was like, and even trauma was like so much bliss. And it was that experience of surrender that made me say, back in 2000, when I was like 23, fresh out of college, I want to be a yoga teacher. I want to give this to other people. This is the best thing ever.
That is powerful. That's powerful.
Thank you. It is.
Yeah. I mean, just to have that thought at that age, especially because, those ages, we can be a little self-centered,
Yes, we can. And I was
not
that
really
too.
think about other people.
It was all of it.
Okay, so you had the whole package.
I had the whole package. I had the deep thoughts and being self-centered. Still do.
Because typically, I mean, at that age, it's like you're not thinking about other people, you're thinking about yourself. Because you just did college and all this stuff. And so now you're thinking about, what's in it for me type of thing.
Absolutely.
Yeah. All right. So the type of client that you typically work with.
So I generally work with women, although men are welcome too. However, the next part is super important. You already have a certain level of career success, like you're high performing in corporate or somewhat booked out as a coach or entrepreneur. But you might struggle with, say, not speaking your mind, believing other people's opinions about who you are or who you should be, not asking for what you want, like raises or promotions, feeling like you always have to be in charge or things always have to be perfect. Like on paper, your life looks perfect and you want more, but you don't know what it is. That's the starting point, like where you are right now for the people that I work with.
Got you. That is so powerful. Do you typically prefer to do group programs or do you do one-on-ones?
Both. The short answer is both. Right now, my work is primarily one-to-one, which is amazing for clients because there's so much accessibility, there's so much transformation, and I hold a really, really deep container. Like it's not just like, it's a deep container with a lot of holding. However, I'm going to be branching out into, for the right now, some lower ticket group offerings, some like really accessible, group workshops and things like of that caliber.
Gotcha. So you're doing a little pivot.
I'm keeping the one-to-ones. The primary availability is for one-to-one. However, there's going to be a little pivot of, 3-day group event online.
That is so good.
Yeah.
And
go ahead. Also, if anyone's listening who wants to do this, I would love to work with groups in corporate. So if you have a corporation or a business and you want to bring this medicine to your group, talk to me right now. I would love to work with you.
There you have it.
My deeper desire here is to bring this medicine to groups in corporate America.
There you have it. Asherah Eden wants to have corporate clients.
Absolutely.
She can actually help them to get off the struggle bus and be able to be, employees that are happy and that are satisfied and that are able to do the work.
It's all about having employees who are confident, who are in their power, and who know the value of what they are. And who know the value of who they are and what they bring.
So would you think about doing it like as a benefit?
What do you mean?
Like for companies, like a benefit?
A benefit.
You know how they have, what do you call that stuff? Aflac and all those things.
I would say that a company that was interested would have to just talk to me because I don't know how that would work from company to company.
Okay.
So
I'm just saying, is that something?
Yeah, the short answer is yes. And the longer answer is we need to talk because when I taught yoga, it was as a benefit, an employee benefit, and I simply got paid through the employer, through the company itself.
Right. That's what I was thinking.
Yeah, absolutely. That was completely fine.
Because I think that would be perfect, actually, when you consider, because if it is a benefit and it's going to benefit the company because they're going to be happier.
It's employee wellness, it's psychological wellness, it's physical wellness, it's employee productivity, it's stress reduction, it's increased performance for your team.
Exactly.
It's even in some cases team building and team cohesion, depending on how we run it and what we do.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think that's going to be powerful for you.
Thank you, love. That's actually been my secret vision.
Yeah, no worries. It's all good. No secret now.
No secret now. The cat's out, especially once this hits like iTunes or whatever. The cat's out of the bag.
Right. Right. It's like, oh, that's what she's doing.
I love it.
I do too. So moving forward, where do you see your business going?
Where I see my business going, it's over different time frames. So over the next 6 months to a year, I see myself booking out my one-to-one with everything that I just mentioned. What I see, and then there's a time frame in between that I'm like, I don't know. But what I see in the bigger range, like I'm saying, my 5-year plan, is me working primarily with corporations and their teams, rather than trying to build my own long, big group programs. What I'm really passionate about, say, in the longer term over the 5-year plan, is having like especially, I'm from the mainland US, even though I live in Hawaii, like corporations, like in New York, like high stress corporations, and bringing these employee wellness programs that are really about performance and self-esteem and employees knowing their worth and reducing stress and anxiety,
Yes.
to corporations on the mainland US, and having probably a couple of major accounts with a select few organizations, as well as a separate business. Now we're getting into the 10-year vision, which is much more of a spiritual ministry that at that point is going to be a lot less about money and a lot more about a spiritual movement, bringing people back to their bodies.
Yes.
Later.
That is nice. Bringing people back to their bodies. Yes. Because we need that.
We need that.
All right. So, okie dokie. All right. So, as you move forward, what can you say was one of the biggest lessons that you've learned?
One of the biggest lessons that I've looked for myself or for my clients or in general.
You in general, however you want to.
I'm going to sit with that for just a moment.
Mm-hmm.
I think this one is for myself and my journey, and for those that I work with, it's kind of a universal one.
Typically it is.
Yeah. It's really about having the courage to speak your mind, even if you're afraid to, even if you're afraid of what you might say or what might come out of your mouth, or the other shoe dropping, or all of the things that we're afraid of individually, collectively. Because when you have the courage to speak your mind, even when it's scary, it opens all of the doors for more good to come into your life than you've ever imagined. And that good could be more money, that good could be more love, that good could be, more intimacy, that good could be more career opportunities.
Mm-hmm.
But it all starts with the courage to speak your mind. And as you're doing that, as you're speaking your mind, letting go of who you're supposed to be or what you think you're supposed to be doing. Because culturally, and now I am sort of on women, as women, we get trained to live, even now, even in 2021, to live within certain parameters. You can have a business, but don't be too successful. You can express your feelings, but, sadness is more acceptable than anger or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So quit with the speaker mind is quit doing what's expected of you and do exactly what you actually want to do.
That is powerful. Let me show you something.
Yeah, show me.
I just bought this journal.
See, that's the thing. Exactly. The do what you love journal. Yep. That's exactly what it was. Do what you love.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And forget what anyone else is telling you to do. Who cares? Doesn't matter. Life's too short. Do what you love.
Yeah.
And do it your way.
That's what I was going to say. That was the next thing. It's like, do it your way. Because the way that I do it might not be the way that you do it.
Exactly.
But my people are okay with how I do it.
Your people are going to love your way.
See, and the same thing with you, your people. And this is what I've been telling people. I'm like, you don't have to do it the way everybody else does it. Just because, Sally Lou over here that said she was a 10K coach or whatever the hell it is, did it that way, doesn't mean, if it doesn't feel aligned to you and it doesn't feel right. Because to me, if it doesn't feel right, I'm not going to do it.
We all have, this is so important. And I'm so happy that you said that, Tammy, because I was like, oh my gosh, I have like 10 things to say now that you said that. We all have a multitude of paths we can take in life.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm also a firm believer that we all also have our own highest timeline, the way that leads to the best outcomes and the most of everything we actually want.
Yes.
And and within that highest timeline, there's a way to do it that's uniquely ours.
Yes. Yes.
And I'm like, I have to say that for the collective. And then part of what I do with clients is I help them call in the highest timeline, the thing that you always have wanted to do, but haven't had the courage to do, or the courage to voice, or it's more like, you don't let yourself know that you know what it is, but you don't let yourself know. I help you really know what that is and own it. And then we co-create the way to do it that's uniquely yours.
That makes sense to you.
That makes sense to you, not to me, to you, because if you want your next level in business, you might get there through there's always a practical point, right? Like a practical, real world thing that has to happen, but you might get there through spinning counterclockwise, dyeing your hair fuchsia, and then going on 3 podcasts. And I might get there through posting on Facebook every day or whatever. So there's a way. The first one was funny, right? So
Yeah.
there's always a way that's unique to you.
Right. And that makes sense. I find that it also chills clients out too. They relax when you talk to them like that and you say, you don't have to do all of this in 20 minutes.
You don't have to do all of it at all.
Right.
Ever.
Don't. Not if you don't want to and it's not aligned and you don't feel good.
And what you need to do is, yes, you need to do something, but you need to do the thing that's actually aligned to you.
Yes. Yes, absolutely. 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 I have truly, truly enjoyed this show. It's been amazing. I'm sure that we dove into things that we didn't even know we were going to dive into today, but it actually showed up and it worked out. And I think that it's going to help so many people to listen and just see, what it means and what you can do and what you mean, because the thing is you have to know what you mean to yourself.
Yeah.
Just like Asherah just said, you have to understand self-love and you have to show yourself love because, we show all kinds of other people love all the
But not
time.
ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, showing it to ourselves goes against every grain of collective programming that there is.
Yes. Because everybody says you don't want to be selfish. You don't want to do that. Who wants to be selfish? And then, it's just crazy how they justify all of those type of things, where you need to love on you, and I'm a big promoter of that. If there's a day that comes up and I feel like I felt last week, then I'm going to put myself in the bed. That's what I'm going to do. I don't care what I got going on.
A little bit selfish is the start of the next revolution.
Yes.
I want to say that again. It just came through me and I was like, I love this. A little bit selfish is the start of the next revolution.
And that is so right. I'm going to do a post about that.
I was like, I have to post this now. You can do that too. We'll
Right.
Facebook Live on that.
It's like, oh, okay. Yeah. Yeah, we got that. Just a little bit selfish.
Just a little bit.
But it's time though. It's time. It's time. God knows that I feel like I have given for so many people, and not always for myself. So for me, self-love is the thing. I'm loving on me.
And the thing about self-love is like when you give to yourself first, and even that, what like self-love is like so specific to each of us individually. Like there's basic things like getting enough sleep and eating well and exercising, but
Right.
beyond like basic body type things, it starts to get very individual. But something that I want to say for anyone who's listening is that when you love yourself, you fill your own tank energetically.
Yes.
And then when you fill your own tank energetically, you're actually more magnetic to receiving more.
Yes. Yes.
Whether that, again, whether that's love, money, opportunities, emotional intimacy, whatever it is that you're looking for, when you love yourself appropriately in the way that is unique to you, because it actually is different for all of us,
Yes.
and you do that first ahead of the responsibilities,
Mhm.
you become more magnetic to your desires.
That's powerful. And I agree with that because I always tell people, I said, when I was calling in my husband, and I called him in. So when
Mhm.
I was calling in my husband, I said, I need a man that's going to love me like I want to be loved.
Boom.
So
And you got a man. Do you get
I
a
said,
man who loves you like you want to be loved?
I gotta love a man that loves me like I need to be loved. I got a man that loves me unconditionally because that's what I asked for.
There you go. That's
You know, and the thing is if you are at this place, where you're recognizing and realizing, that you deserve to be loved, you deserve to love yourself first.
one of mine has been with money and business. And there was a moment in 2017 when my business was like almost at zero and I was really struggling. And I realized, and I felt like I was like drained because everything that was like coming in was like going back out kind of thing. And I realized that I had to break the cycle. And if I didn't let myself love myself first and take care of me first, like it wasn't going to go anywhere. So this is small, but it goes back to the self-love topic. So one of the things that I love is beauty and color and the feminine. And I don't know if the video is going to be published or just the audio, but I'm wearing like these beautiful bracelets today and these earrings. And usually I'm wearing a dress, and it's odd that I'm wearing a t-shirt today. But one of the ways that I show my self-love is by gifting myself feminine energy,
Yes.
dresses,
Mm-hmm.
lipstick,
Yes.
jewelry, adornment,
Yes.
attire.
Yes.
And so what I started doing at that time was I started setting aside tiny amounts of money, like $50 here and there, and spending it on presents for myself. And I would go into town and find a beautiful blouse that like $50 or $70 or $80. And I would buy the blouse and I'd let myself take it in and I'd let myself enjoy the sensation of the new top. And then there was a then, like it wasn't just getting the thing. And then I'd follow up with like, I am so worthy, and install positive beliefs about myself along with the giving presence to myself.
Yes.
And then the next client for my business would show up.
That is that is so that is awesome.
Yeah.
Just to be able to set it up like that so that you can show yourself, because that's the thing. It's like, this is what you need, but once you see it and once you begin to know that this needs to be in your awareness all the time.
Right.
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 Perfect.
And
All
how
right.
interesting that it happened with love for you.
Yeah. Oh God. Yeah. I mean, I called it in because I was married 20 years to an idiot. And so, I had to call in a good one because I didn't want to have those same patterns
Right.
and have the same one, because it's so easy to do that.
Yeah.
Because when you're looking for love, a lot of times you throw everything out of the window that makes sense. And then you get this bozo. And so I wasn't willing to do that. I was like, I'm not doing another one of those. Already had one, not doing it. So I began to call it in, and I started calling in what I wanted, and it was and I was really particular about certain things. So
Good for
anyway,
you. That's amazing.
yeah.
Yeah.
It's one of those things that, when people talk to me about it, I say, well, you have to call it in, and then you have to wait, and then you have to move out of the way, and don't be, trying to find something. Just wait.
Just wait. Yeah.
Because it'll show up.
Receive.
Mm-hmm.
Be available and receive.
Exactly. So let the people know how to connect with you so that when they're ready to reach out, they know how to find you.
So if there's interest in connecting, I currently have a couple of spaces available for one-to-one mentorship right now. And that really is about knowing how valuable your expertise is, asking for what you're worth in your business or career, and living your life confident in who you are and in your power. If that speaks to you, if anything that I've spoken about today speaks to you, the absolute best thing to do right now is to just send me a direct email at asherah@asheraheden.com. And I will spell that out quickly and I'll send that to Tammy after, but ASHERAHEDEN.com. The other thing you could do is look me up on Facebook at Asherah Eden. Make sure it's the profile with like 3,700 friends, because I accidentally have 2 profiles. So if you Facebook Asherah Eden, look for the personal page with 3,700 people as friends, or 3,600 people, or wherever I'm at, and then just send me a DM and introduce yourself.
Awesome. All right. Well, this is our show, and I am super excited and grateful that Asherah has joined me today. If you have gotten any value from her, make sure that you reach out and just let her know that, what she said was a blessing to you. So again, thank you so much for hanging out with us, joining us on Straight Outta Savannah, wherever you are listening to this show or watching it. Thank you. I appreciate you. So we're going to go on that note, and I will see you next time. Bye now.
Bye.